This is so stupid.
Just say Booshell. We'll get to the bottom of this.
What the fuck is
It's
it?
technically Buechele.
Buechele. Matt Buechele. God, I'm going to have to edit that. No, I'm going to do it right.
All right, do it right, then we'll start.
All right, we've got Matt Buechele on.
Oh my god.
Did I do it wrong
Yeah,
again?
that's great.
Okay.
No one calls me.
Buechele.
It's like I'm hanging out with a cousin or something.
Oh,
you know?
that's sweet. I hope you feel that way.
The real ones that know. Yeah.
You're a songwriter, comedy writer, content creator.
Yes.
You've written for Fallon. Mm-hmm. And you're everything. It feels like you've like hit the algorithm, stream, and everyone gets to see your shit now, and it's awesome because it's really well done.
Thank you.
It's again, I know you write it prior, but it seems very off the cuff, and
Thanks.
I love that people are seeing it because your latest one about Trump was brilliant.
Oh, thank you.
When you say I'm the pilot, I got like goosebumps, and then the way it cuts. Like you're like kind of not the voice of our generation. That's a very extreme thing to say, but in a way you are.
No.
And I really love what you do. So thanks for joining me today.
Thank you for having me. This is exciting.
Of course.
I'm excited to talk comedy stuff.
Yeah. Okay. I was gonna say I know you're kind of more a writer behind the scenes on your phone, but I've actually reached out to you in the past to do shows that I run.
Yeah.
And you mentioned, I'm more of a songwriter, and I try to sing in my act more so if it's live.
Yeah, well, that was kind of where things were going with what I was doing live.
Because that was last year when I reached out to you.
Yeah, and I remember being really excited because I do need to, it's always in the back of my head. I'm I need to get on stage more. I need to get on stage more. And then I don't have that gear right now. You know what I mean? It doesn't excite me.
You speak in perfect jokes though.
Oh,
it's like
that's really
punch,
nice.
tag, the formula is perfect. I want you to say that in front of an audience because there's really nothing like the feeling of being in front of hundreds of people.
No, sure.
And I know you mentioned the high you get from posting your videos.
It is fun.
Yeah.
Because you don't know where it can end up.
Right.
You know what I mean? You don't know who's going to see it. You don't know who's going to share it.
But I was like, I feel like
so that's a thrill.
I'd love for you to feel the thrill of that. Again, I know you've performed live.
No, yeah, I used to do a lot more live stuff, especially when I first moved here, many years ago.
When did you first move here?
2012.
Okay. Wow. How old are you?
I know. I'm 34.
Okay. Yeah, I'm 31.
Okay,
I moved
cool.
here in
safe
20...
space so we can talk.
Yeah,
I was like, let's get right into it. Yeah.
No. I moved here in 2016, so similar timelines.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
That makes sense then, yeah. I was doing a lot of I was doing UCB stuff.
Okay, I signed up for that and then the pandemic hit.
For the best. I mean, truly.
It's funny. Well,
everyone has different experiences,
totally.
So I'm not going to knock it as a blanket thing, but
I found stand-up, and then I was like, oh, how do I push myself out of my comfort zone more? So I was like, let me do this weird thing.
That's so interesting that you already were doing stand-up and you thought, let me do that. Because I wasn't really doing stand-up when I just started
I just
UCB.
always judged improv a little harshly, where I was like, these fucking losers. Yeah. And then, sorry. And then I was like, wait a minute, this is a really cool way to push myself out of my, I think that's cool element. Because then, again, you get on stage and you just bare your soul, and you know more than anyone, it's so hard to put yourself out there and want to be relatable, but also just kind of let it out. Just let
and you're thinking this is improv? You're describing improv?
Or just in general. I think that's why I did it, just to get that thick skin.
To try to be
let your freak flag.
What are my first thoughts here? Let me not have a filter.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's fun. I think it's a good exercise. I just sort of I knew I wasn't incredible at it. You know what I mean? Because when you do all the classes there, you meet people. You're like, oh, you're incredibly good. And I was up there really doing math, trying to make something happen. And I was like, yeah, you're not. I knew I had some kind of talent, but that wasn't my outlet. Mm-hmm. So yeah.
Did you move to the city to pursue that?
Not UCB specifically, but yeah.
You knew you had.
I wanted to do comedy. I moved here because I got an internship at Letterman when I was in college.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Where'd
so that was kind of. I went to Belmont University.
Okay, is that in New Jersey?
No, it's in Nashville.
Got it.
I would have been so impressed with you.
That's music.
It is a lot of music kids.
Yeah, my friend,
how do you know it?
Becky Kinder, who I grew up with, went to Belmont, and she was an amazing singer.
Yeah, it attracts a lot of music people. I studied music business. They had a business program where you could work in the music industry, and that was what I did in high school. I did a lot of singer-songwriter stuff.
So you've always kind of known.
Yeah, I was I played in little groups in high school, and I kind of wanted to do songwriting and music. And then I started doing comedy in college, doing sketch comedy, and
got it.
Started doing stand up in Nashville.
Are you from that area?
I'm from Pittsburgh.
Got it. Are you a big Mac Miller fan?
Pretty big, yeah. I mean, I did see it when I came in. Yeah. No, he was like, him and like Wiz Khalifa were like huge. Yeah. And then growing up outside of the, like in the burbs of Pittsburgh.
I saw them in concert a few times when Mac was opening.
I never saw Mac Miller live.
Oh, really?
I was like, that's a regret. But,
yeah. Too late.
Yeah. Well. And moving on. Yeah. No. What was I talking about? I don't know. Belmont. Yeah, I just started doing comedy there.
You got
then I got the internship up here, and I was sort of like, at that point, I really wanted to like do writing and comedy, and so I was just trying to do everything. You know, if there's improv here, I'll do the classes, or, you know, if my friend wants to go to these open mics, I'll go to these open mics with him and do. Yeah, I was doing like lots of weird.
Weird is
stand
a great
up.
word.
I was like playing in a band. I was playing in a band for Scott Rogowski. Do you know him?
Mm-mm.
He was the guy that hosted HQ Trivia. Do you remember that? That guy.
HQ had so Troy actually worked for that show.
Oh, really?
As well, yeah.
Mm-hmm. I wonder. That's so funny because I like wrote jokes for that too. So I wonder if we.
The world is,
it was like we never hung out. Like it was just sort of like emailing and stuff. Mm-hmm. So. Yeah, work is a like loose term to say what I did for that show.
Well, I was listening to that podcast, and you've done so many jobs. You were doing a lot of temp work.
Yeah, I've had a weird, like 10 plus years
honestly,
of bopping
I just think
around.
that's living in New York and pursuing something that's outside of what the norm is.
Yeah.
And I will say, I find myself in the weird, like, I mean, I'm a comedian and I'm pursuing that, but I have a day job. Like today I was in New Jersey, like sitting in my car, like looking at sushi. Like, what am I doing?
You were in New Jersey today?
Yeah.
In your car?
Yeah.
There's a lot of things you said in that sentence that where you live, I didn't expect any of those words.
I mean, the point is I find myself just I'm always doing random shit.
Can we talk about the day job?
Of course,
What is it?
I work in marketing for Lexus, the car brand.
And they make you go into the office every day?
So the office is in the West Village, but we go out to the Lexus headquarters.
Oh my God.
Every month end. So at the end of the month, when they like wrap up car sales, we go out there just to meet up with our clients.
How long have you been doing that?
Since 2017.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Does it pay pretty well?
Well enough. I mean,
sure.
I can, have a apartment in New York.
Yeah.
And the hours are good. I can still go on tour and.
Yeah. What did they think about like your comedy stuff?
They're really supportive.
Yeah.
They're
like if you're like, I need to go, like I know you tour with them.
Last year I was kind of shady. Like my boss sat me down and was like, hey.
You keep disappearing.
Like you're allowed, we want you to pursue your dream, but like you can't just not show up on a Wednesday. Because we're in the office Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
Sure.
And last year, Troy, it was his first tour. And so his agents pushed, like they would kind of like test his selling power by giving him like weekdays.
I see.
Whereas now he's getting weekends. But I was kind of along for like the ride on like the
and what kind of places are we going?
We're going to Liberty Township, Ohio.
Oh man.
We're going.
Oh my God.
Yeah, we're going. Idaho.
Oh my God.
Name is a weird place. I've been there doing
stand-up.
Sure. Salt Lake, I mean, that's not that small, but
no, but
some
still
random places.
Traveling, like really traveling on a weekday.
Portland, California. Yeah. We had a leg last summer that was all of California, all the improvs out there. And that was during the week, so I was just kind of like hiding. Just like, I'm like, the pandemic happened and we proved that we can work online.
Yeah, that would have been stressful though, I'd imagine.
Wildly.
Yeah, a little bit.
Because I was playing this like whack-a-mole game of like, if I just hide. At one point I was in, this is so bad. At one point I was at the airport and I had to take a call. Mm-hmm. And I was like, whatever. And I was running into the bathroom, but I thought I put myself on mute.
Oh, no.
And I run into the bathroom. I accidentally put my camera on. The mute's not off. And I'm like fully using the bathroom on a full work call.
No. And did they even know you were like traveling?
Someone was like, hey, but like someone texted me and was like, you're and I didn't tell them I was out that week either. Yeah. So. Yeah, but then I had a talk at the end of the year with my boss, and he's like, you can do this.
That's nice.
Maybe like pick and choose a few days a little more, and then also just tell us.
Yeah.
And I think I was just afraid to be transparent. And I'm also just afraid in general of
everything.
Life.
Yeah.
I'm afraid of life. Yeah. No, but they've been cool about it. And I've also dialed back my touring a little bit, and I'm trying to do my own thing more. So.
Yeah, what's like the goal right now, stand-up wise?
Stand-up goal is to tour on my own more. And,
like as a headlining act?
Mm-hmm,
cool.
Yeah, because I've been featuring for 2 years now.
Got it.
And I mean, headlining is also really scary because it's like it's your turn to sell the tickets, and it's weird that
that's a thing.
It's scary.
That's a lot of my hesitancy too.
Totally.
Is I'm like, I don't know. Like, there's this thing about, like, you're very kind when you, like, are like, oh, your stuff online and stuff. If it's, like, how popular is it? It's like, do I want to, like, test the, like, I'm doing a show and then find out it's, like, no one wants to come and I spend more time promoting. Party. I don't like asking people to do things.
Oh, I
you know
hate
what I mean? Like,
I always say, hey, just so you're aware, but, like, please don't feel pressure.
I know, and then that's not how you have a successful career, but that's, like, our cross to bear. It's like, having to get butts in seats. And literally. It's like, all you want to focus on is how good is this joke? Or,
totally.
You know,
it's so funny you bring that up, because I was noticing you were contradicting yourself slightly on the podcast, but that's part of this whole life of, like, being like, oh, yeah, like, I got to create content, but I also don't want to put out shit I don't believe in. Yeah. And it's like there's this double-edged sword we're always facing, and also you mentioned something else of like on that
running out of time or whatever. That one. Yeah.
Where you're like sometimes like I just want to like speak my truth, but sometimes I'll test my stuff with my girlfriend just to be like, hey, is this coming off crazy? And it's like you seem like someone that can just kind of speak whatever and it gets out there, but then it's like there's always that little internal judge of like, is this okay?
Yeah. Definitely.
And it's so hard
to shut them
lately, up and be like,
especially lately.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've gotten better at. Yeah, like I've said it a lot before, but I do think there's a lot of power in like shutting the fuck up. Yeah. Being like, if I don't have something that I'm like, this is really funny, I'll feel sick to my stomach if I do something that feels like it's like it got it wrong and it's like mean or something, you know. And then I'm like, well, this isn't even what I was trying to do, and now I look like a dick. I know I probably have. I'm not much of a...
You've never deleted a video for being, like, kind of...
I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't think so. I mean, I've definitely deleted things, like, especially when I first started doing, like, more online stuff. Mm-hmm. I probably started doing online stuff around, like, 2017, 16.
Well, you mentioned you started with tweeting.
Yeah, I was, like,
tweeting. I
think
it's such a funny, like...
Yeah.
Like,
everyone did comedy on Twitter, I feel like.
Yeah.
You didn't do, like...
I never really
Do you tweet
Twitter.
now? You know at all?
No, I don't
That's
touch
crazy
Twitter.
to me. That's like where I learned how to write jokes. Yeah, that's like where I started like writing jokes.
Maybe I need to start tapping into
Not
Twitter.
now.
X, now that it's X, yeah, it's true.
It's bad now. I haven't tweeted in forever now, but
yeah,
what a stupid sentence. Well, yeah, and Threads is even more pathetic.
I know. Threads.
I have a lot of followers on Threads.
Well, because it just kind of
takes them, and so it doesn't even feel real. I'm like, is anyone
here?
That's
how I feel. Is anyone listening? Like.
I threaded, if that's the verb. I threaded for like 3 days. And then I was like...
What am I doing?
I was like, I'm about good. I was like, I got like 6 good ones out there. And I was like...
I'm good.
Some had like 20 likes. Some had like 100. I was like, it's not... None of this feels like anyone's actually...
listening. What's funny, do you have a preference on what performs where, like TikTok versus Instagram?
Not really. I don't really care.
Because for me, TikTok is just this lawless land where I could just like my TikTok is me posting videos of Troy eating on the road like with his hands, and it's just like what's annoying though is like I'll craft a joke for like 4 years and like polish it and like cut it down and put it on TikTok. It's and like 10 views.
Yeah.
I posted a video of Troy eating mozzarella sticks in Maryland last weekend. 70,000 views in like 2 days.
Why?
And exactly.
What's going on?
I'm like, God, I think people just love him, which is fair. He's very likable. But I'm like, come on, guys. Like, what is this algorithm? Yeah. I feel like the algorithm gods like just don't want me to have it quite yet.
I feel like it's really hard. Like, TikTok, I have to say, no understanding of why anything does well on there.
Yeah.
Like, there's some consistency with like if something does pretty well on TikTok, it'll probably do pretty well on Instagram as far as like just getting like views or something.
Do you post at the same time on both okay.
I'm not trying to sound like humble or like cool. Like I have no thought behind. Like if I have a funny thing, I'll like go try to do it and post it. I won't like think like, oh, it's a certain day of the week and I got to get it up at this hour. Like I think I could be wrong.
No.
But I think that stuff is kind of like dead. I don't think that really matters.
I like that. I think that's good because I think people get really bogged down with that.
Yeah. Well, I talk to so many people
burnt out.
I talk to so many people that like try to like obsessively be like, I have to release content on this day and this day, and I'm like, I don't know if you do. Like,
I love you saying that because I told myself I would put these out every Monday, and maybe it's different with the podcast.
Well, podcasts. I think podcasts you do kind of have to have some consistency. You don't want to be dropping a pod like 3 random episodes a year. So
no, you're so right. And I do it once a week, but
once a week's pretty great.
I'm definitely trying to stick to Mondays, but
I think that's podcast. I think is smart.
Okay.
Yeah. But like
I really think we're saying okay, yeah.
I think videos and like stand-up clips and
doesn't matter what time, what day.
I don't think so. Yeah. I think if it's like really interesting,
it catches if it catches.
Yeah,
I agree.
I guess there's been things where they haven't done well and I thought they would. And I'm like, man, I thought that was really funny. But it's usually not the other way around. It's not like if there's something, I'm never like surprised too much when something does well, because I'm kind of like, well, I thought I did well. Like, you know what I'm talking about when you have a joke.
100%.
It's the same thing on stage too, where you're like, I don't know, you know your best jokes in your set, and you're like, I kind of thought that was gonna hit, because like it's working. Like,
totally,
it's working for me.
It really does translate. Like, I have two of my favorite jokes ever. One joke is it's like a Jeep Wave joke about. Anyways, I'll just send it to you. I won't make you
Sure. About how people with Jeep owners all wave to each other?
Yeah, exactly. And,
familiar with the idea.
Yeah. So I have a Jeep Wave joke, and it was my best joke it still is. It gets the biggest laugh, and I sat on it for a while. I was like, I don't want to put this out there.
Oh, interesting. Okay, well, I want to get into this too, but continue this story.
Well, I wanted to kind of keep it as like, this is my like, my boom, like no one like sees it coming. It's the biggest laugh I always get. And then I was like, kind of stale online, and I was like, you know what? I was talking to someone in the green room at Greenwich.
I was kind of stale online.
Just crusty and old. No one gave a shit.
That's such a relatable, sad feeling. Like, not really doing much lately on there. Maybe I could throw up a quick photo. I don't know. I'm drowning right now.
Drowning.
Yeah, and, I know what you mean.
So, and I was talking with someone who said to me, he's like, oh yeah, I did the same thing where I didn't want to put my best joke out there, but when I did, it blew up, and it got me that next wave. So I was like, fuck it. So I put my Jeep Wave joke on there. I got like 3 million views. I got a bunch of new followers. And I was like, oh, this is my best joke. And this did do really well. And the same thing happened when I wrote a new joke that I was really pumped about. And I put that out there, and that got like 500,000. And I was like, okay, it does translate. And it's annoying because you're like, well, how do I just keep writing magic?
I know. Well, that's the trouble of it. Because you're like, once this is out there, it's out there. And when you're asking me, like, going back to when you were like asking me if I wanted to ever do like one of your shows or something, it's like, I'm in this weird position where I've kind of, the deal I've made with the Online Devil is I write my material and it's out there. And it's like, I did it. So like, if I did a show, it's like, sure, I've got like an hour of random little material on but it's not like I'm going to do my videos. You know what I mean? Like,
you should just film it.
It's like, yeah, I know. It's like, what the fuck is my show right now? Like, that's the thing. So I want to ask you as a stand-up more. Yeah, like, because so much what we see on TikTok and Instagram and YouTube and whatnot is everyone doing crowd work because I feel like they don't want to put their material on there.
Totally.
But then it's like you said, it's like your material, and you're a good joke writer, you write funny stuff, it's going to get attention and get you maybe opportunities you wouldn't have had before, because now you have more followers and you can sell more tickets.
Well, it's funny. Anyone I talk to that's at the next level, they're like, no one gives a fuck. No one remembers.
That's true, too.
Just like, burn it, put it out there, to the point where they're saying post the same joke twice. I'm like, that looks like we're broken robots. I'm like, are you kidding?
That's interesting, but I'm not against it per se.
Well, when I heard that, I was like, you're kidding, right? And she's like, my friend was like, she's close with Ryan Long. I don't know if you know him, but
I don't know him, but I know who he is.
Yeah, he's great. And she was like, oh yeah, Ryan Long. He said, she's like, he'll post the same joke every like 6 months. I'm like, okay. Like,
I mean, that's I don't know.
Good to know.
I don't know. Like, is the goal really just to be like touring right now? Is that like the idea? Is like something where you would quit the job and be like headlining? That's a great question.
I actually don't love touring, to be honest. Like, I want a headline and I want to tour.
Miss Zoom call from the airport doesn't love touring.
I love like many elements of it, but I don't love the pressure of selling tickets. And just like, it feels very personal when you walk into a club and it's not full. Like, it feels like a personal attack on your identity. And Troy, luckily, he sells everything up, but there have been moments like in Ohio where like you walk into a room on a Thursday when it's like a lighter day, or a Wednesday, and there's like 50 people there in a 200-person room, and you're like, this hurts.
And
like,
you're far from home.
Yeah, and
so
you're
probably
like,
sort of feeling like.
Yeah, and I don't know, seeing someone like that who, again, I've seen sell out rooms, still have those moments, and to even feel that as a feature act, walking in the room being like, oof. And I have a lot of friends too at the next level where they're like, that's most of tour.
Yeah.
Like, what you've experienced last year was not the norm. And I'm like, that just, I don't know.
I think that's the reality of any even in music. I feel like I'm hearing a lot about that too, of like people aren't selling out music venues as much, and it's just like, it's hard, like, and that's stressful. How much are you performing in the city right now? Like, how often?
Once a week at Greenwich, and then usually at indie shows once or twice a week. So usually 3 or 4 times a week. But my dream in comedy. Yeah, my big picture, like in 10 years, I want to be at the Comedy Cellar. That's my dream.
Yeah.
Maybe they're
10 years?
In like this. No,
yeah, I was like, we can fast track on a little. I was like, God damn.
I'm giving you the big picture.
Yeah, okay. I was like, wait a second.
I'd like to be there.
You figure it out sooner.
Thank you so much. No, I'd like to be there in like 2 or 3.
Yes, but, I think that's very realistic.
In 10 years, I want to be at the Cellar regularly. That's like kind of my home club. And then I want to have a book that I've written that becomes a movie.
I remember you talking about this.
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
And that's, that kind of like with a bow on it. That's my dream.
Yeah. The book is semi-autobiographical?
So it's based on a true story. I finally landed on this because I feel very like, my life's so fascinating if it's about me. But if I make it based on a true story of a girl who moved to New York and then meets a comedian and then goes on tour and then breaks off into her own.
Yeah.
Like, I think that could be interesting. And then there's like many like tunnels and like fast tracks going back into the past and then going to the future.
So it's fiction based on
a true story.
Oh.
Yeah. And I've started it, but I go in and out and I don't know. I mean, you mentioned you want to write a book or have a TV show and a musical. And
yeah.
I wanted to ask you this because I feel like this is just the dilemma of being a creative and in New York of like, you just feel very spread thin.
Yeah, and you feel like you have to like do everything, right? It's like...
But then you can't do anything.
No. Yeah, you can't like... It's hard. I feel like I'm pretty good at like balancing it all, and I'm the kind of person who needs like multiple irons in the fire, or else I start to sort of feel like, well, because we hear no so many times, and it's like, I think when I first was like starting to get opportunities when I was like a few years back, I would like put it on a pedestal no matter what it was, and I'd be like, oh my god, this is gonna happen. I'm gonna hear back. Well, like things I didn't ultimately get.
Got it.
You know what I mean? And you're like, oh, this is it. This is the thing. And then it's like, again, it's like, I don't know what your hit rate's like, but it's probably similar to mine. It's like most things are no's, and you think you're going to get them, and the yeses are great, and you celebrate them, but it's like, for me, it's better to be trying to do lots of different things, because then I don't like get too excited about something not coming through, and I feel like I dedicate just as much energy and do like just as good of a job anyway, even if I'm balancing multiple things. So I'm kind of in this era of like, especially like this year, I'm trying to really approach things as like, if someone asks me to try something or do something, I think I can handle it. I'm like, fuck it. Like, I just want to do more, because I'm like, I'm not getting younger. I don't want to look back and be like, why were you so precious about one thing? You turned down all these other things you could have been trying to do. Or I
like that a lot.
I don't know. I don't know.
That's a good mentality. But you mentioned that you want
to... I'll probably burn out in like 2 weeks and be like, I'll come back on and be like, it didn't work. It didn't work.
That's a funny thing. Anytime I commit to something, then I'm like, oh, that's just going to change. But I think that's a really safe thing to even say of, you're open to just keeping many, plates spinning.
Yeah, the plate spinning thing.
And you mentioned wanting to collab more with people.
Yeah.
Which I liked. I mean, I listened to one of your songs. It was Lemonade when you collabed.
I can't believe you listened to that. That's very sweet.
Good.
Thank you.
Do you know who Still Woozy is?
Yes.
I love Still Woozy.
Goodie Bag is like a cheer me up
one
song.
Of the best songs ever. It was actually my number one song one year on my Spotify.
Really?
Rounds. I love that song.
No, he's great.
I love Still Woozy, and I was kind of getting a vibe of him.
I think that's nice to say. I feel like I'm in that kind of. Yeah. Some of the stuff I do is trying to be in that world.
It's kind of this like moody yet uplifting. Yeah. And depending on the mood you bring to it, it can kind of go in that direction. Yeah. And I liked your art too. I thought like it was like the hands on one of them. I was curious if you also did art. It was 40.
Oh,
that was
yes.
separate from Lemonade. Sorry.
Yeah, that was oh god, her name's Kathleen Flanity or something. Okay. I could look it up later. But yeah, she's great, and she does like little minimal drawings. She has a whole bunch, and I loved that.
I was looking at that cover and I was listening. And I was like, this is all giving Still Woozy.
Oh, thank you. Cool That's really nice. You're making me want to make like pop music again. I feel like I haven't done something like that in a long time.
You're really good at it.
Oh, that's really nice.
And I'm sure that's your dilemma, though, of having these many skills and being like, what avenue? And again,
here's the problem. It's nice of you to say having many skills.
You do.
But I don't have many skills where one is clearly like, you're killing it here. Like, I'm kind of decent at a lot of things. Yeah. It's a little, it's like, I don't know. I feel like I'm averaging like a B- in a few different classes, and I wish one though was like stand out. So I was like, oh, push your energy into that. It's like. But
what I think about is that fucking girl that had the song "I'm looking for a man in finance." And she went from I know she was committed TikToker or whatever content creator. Yeah. She had a good idea, but now she's got management, and now her song is mixed with every DJ.
I know that's so. Yeah.
Again, you've had your hits, but maybe it's just that next.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I don't think about making music as much anymore. I'm working on like a musical project with a friend, but it's more of like something we'll script. And like, I used to think like that. Like when I was starting stuff on Twitter way back in the day, a lot of it was like little comedy songs. I did a lot of like 30-second funny songs at the piano, or like I'd produce them and like put
like
auto tune on it and make
type.
very like Bo Burnham like.
You have like I was thinking of that too.
And so I think that was, again, I'm not like anti Bo Burnham, but I think that was like coming. Like a lot of the comments are starting to be like, this is so Bo Burnham, and I'm like, yeah, I'm just doing Bo Burnham. Like I'm not doing anything that interesting. So I kind of like stopped doing that as much, except for like live. I would do those silly songs.
But what is your day-to-day now? You're a full-time content creator.
Yeah, it's so goofy.
Yeah,
I don't do anything. It's like, it's so fucking dumb.
You
like,
just walk down the street and talk to your phone.
It's pathetic. It's like, it's
pathetic. We love it. The people love it.
No, I know. I left the Tonight Show, and I was sort of like... You did
that for a year?
I was there for a year. I left the Tonight Show, and I felt like that time I was there was great, but I didn't make anything at all. Yeah, because you just have no time. You're so busy, and you want to do a good job while you're at the place.
You feel wrung out a little bit.
Kind of, yeah. And if you do have a good idea, you don't want to waste it on you're kind of like, oh, this could probably be on the show somehow.
Yeah, you're like,
so you're always like
keep him like here.
Yeah, you're sort of like, I gotta
being a surrogate mother.
Yeah, you just want to do you're like, you kind of are appreciative of the opportunity, and you're like, while I'm here, I want to try to do the best I can. I don't want to be like doing my own shit and not putting all the effort I can into this. So after a year of not really doing anything for myself, I was sort of like, and also people do balance it. Like I was always in awe of the people that are like doing stand up and then still hitting their deadlines and stuff, but I kind of wasn't prepared for that like level of like busyness. And after the show I started doing more of like those walking monologues, and that like really hit.
And one day were you just walking down the street and like, I've got a funny idea, I'm just gonna film it, or did
it kind of started from I started doing them like before I left Fallon, and it was like I was like, oh, this is something I can do real quick. It was like easy because I don't have to edit anything. I was like, if I have a funny, like, I can write a few jokes on this topic and just deliver them quickly while I'm like walking to the train. And
did you ever get self-conscious that someone was watching you?
I live on the Upper West Side, and it's like, there's lots of like it's not like around here where there's like bodies everywhere. Like it's pretty quiet where I live.
I want to do it, and then I start to do it, and
I mean, it's embarrassing.
I feel stupid.
Yeah, you should. It's stupid. But like you feel dumb, like because sometimes I will be doing it, and like someone will come, like a FedEx guy will come out of like an apartment building, and I'm like, like it's just like it is dumb. Like it's very hard for me to like, I don't know. I'm not that self-conscious, but it's like. When you're really into it, it's clear you're not like FaceTiming. You're like performing.
The angle you do it though, I couldn't pull off. So like fuck you.
I'm not sure if I
would look morbidly obese, and then like you also it just looks very casual. It almost looks like you're just like talking to a friend really quick. So I'm like, it's impressive the way, because like I have tried many times to just talk into my camera, and there's a skill to being really organic with it, and I feel like you kind of found your way with that.
Yeah, that's nice of you to say.
I mean, that's just coming from someone that does it poorly.
Yeah, well, but that's the thing is like...
I watch it back and I'm like, you look like a broken robot.
But I think... but I think that's a way easier skill to get good at than it is to be
stand-up comedy.
Than to be comfortable on stage. Yeah, I think that's a lot more difficult.
Thank you.
Like, I feel comfortable on stage, but not like the level when I see like your clips or anyone else doing stand-up. I'm sort of, oh, these people are very like... I don't know, in their element.
Yeah, totally. Here. I do feel at home on stage.
Yeah.
And that took a lot.
Of course. But honestly, the same thing with like videos. Like before I was doing those like walking videos, I was doing like little things on Twitter. Like I got used to like looking at how I looked when I would say things into my phone. Because a lot of the older stuff I did too were like very like front-facing comedy stuff where it's like a lot of cuts, a lot of edits, just me rapid fire like doing jokes or impressions, and you get used to kind of like knowing like, oh, this is funny, or if I cut here, or this is like...
Yeah, your timing.
You like learn how to talk into a phone without sounding crazy. But, but yeah, it's... So yeah, I guess this is the long-winded answer to what does your day look like and what you do. It's like, I try to write things like that. But I'm right at the moment, I'm like writing on a lot of stuff like that I'm trying to get made, you know? So I'm just like
TV shows?
Yeah, I'm trying to get a show going.
What kind of show?
Comedy, ensemble
like
comedy.
Fiction?
Yeah, fiction.
Okay. Would you ever do like a cartoon like Big Mouth type thing?
Would love to do something.
So I could see that.
Yeah.
You're very like Nick Kroll. The vibe.
Yeah, I would love to do like. I've had ideas for like animated films, but I feel like that world. I don't know anything about how things get done there. Like I think
it's kind of there's a room for a resurgence right now because we had Family Guy, we had South Park.
There are so many shows now.
Yeah, there are, but I feel like they're either like just people don't appreciate them as much as they used to, maybe because there's like it's more saturated, but I don't know, I feel like there's room in its like own way.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm pretty open-minded. I would also love to like write on a scripted show. I've never done that before.
Okay.
I've only ever written on The Tonight Show.
What would be your dream show to write for?
I don't know right now. Like, I don't know what's going on right now that I like am obsessed with. Like a lot of the shows I like are very like White Lotus and like,
I love White Lotus.
But it's like that's a one-man
I've watched
crew.
that so many times.
Yeah, like that's kind of the stuff I like and I'm attracted to.
It's a great. I mean, I'm so pumped for this. Is there another season coming out?
Yeah, they're filming right now in Thailand.
Oh, really?
Like, oh, that's gonna be weird. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because there's a dark comedy.
Yeah. Do you want to write TV or do you not care about that?
I never even thought about it.
I know. It's weird, isn't it? I never really thought about it either till it sort of happened. And then I was like doing it. Like when you like do your people like encourage you to write a pilot or something? Or do they
I have a blog that I've kind of sunset. I mean, I need to bring it back. Honestly, what's weird when I write, it's like this like darkness gets it's like I throw up all the bad in my life that I'm like on stage like haha, things are so silly. Sure. And then when I write, I'm like, in 5th grade, I wanted to kill myself. And I'm like, where did that... God. Not actually, sorry. Okay. But like, sorry, that's a really dark example. But like, something just comes out of me that I'm like, that was dark. Where did that come from? So my writing has just been very like, almost like my therapy. And I have not written aside from like jokes for myself other than that. I don't know. I think maybe I've got like imposter syndrome of like what I think I'm actually capable of. So.
But if you can write jokes, you can write... I mean, it's just...
Totally, yeah.
I guess the question is like, do you want to do that? Like,
I haven't thought about it.
Yeah.
So that's a good question.
Movies, anything like that? Yeah.
I only think of writing my book that would become a movie, which again is like my own little like fantasy world that I need to actually really dig in on. But I haven't thought about collabing on other things.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel
should.
Well, I don't know. It depends. Like, I think that's what's interesting is like, at least, like, I feel like some of the people I talk to about this stuff is like, yeah, you do enough of this so you can eventually get in a room and write on this. And everyone's very different. Like, then you meet people that all they want to do is, like, tour and do stand-up and nothing else matters. And so everyone's kind of, again, it's like what you were saying earlier. It's like everyone's kind of dipping their toes in different things.
That's what I love about the community, too. It's like everyone's on their own journey because with stand-up, it's such a selfish journey in a way of, like, you're doing your own thing, but also you need each other to keep it going. But it's not as competitive because... your jokes can never be the same because they're so unique and different. Yeah. So, and everyone has a different, like, end goal.
What would you say the state of, like, stand-up is in New York right now?
That's a really good question.
Good. Do we need to cut?
The state of stand-up.
I feel like I have no, like, gauge on what's going on in the live comedy world in New York right now. I feel like I used to kind of know what was going on. And now I feel so far removed. So I'm curious, like...
It's a really good question. I think... comedy in general is getting way more popular, which I love. Like the roast of Tom Brady kind of brought it more mainstream. People really appreciating joke telling. And
would that be a gig you'd want?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
That I mean anything that's stand up related, truly.
Okay. Cool.
I think that and then just in TikTok in general, just kind of bringing that, making it more popular. Yeah. So I think that also kind of just bleeds into the scene here. The Cellar is sold out every night. Yeah. There are more rooms. It's just getting bigger and bigger, but at the same time, there's like these core groups. I've always heard and I believe that comedy is like a high school. Yeah. And there's a freshman class, sophomore class, senior class, and you kind of watch each other grow, and you look up to the people above, and you kind of mentor the people below. Sure. It's like walking the halls sometimes in the city when you're on McDougal. It's like every other person, like, hey, what's up? And you kind of have your scenes, and you feel like whenever I walk into a club that I go to a lot, I feel like I'm walking into my house or my living room and like seeing my family in a way.
That's nice. I don't have that. Like that sounds nice.
I was going to ask you this because I think comedians have this network of people that look out for them, and if you see someone that's headlining in your city, you're like, oh, can I feature for you there? Like I've got friends, and like a lot of times, like I did a guest spot for Emma Willman last year in DC, and she just was so happy to share her stage, and I see that a lot with comics at that next level. Yeah. So, it's like actually really in a beautiful place, I think.
That's good. I'm glad you feel that way. Like I'm glad you feel like you go places and
my experience with it. I'm sure a lot of people feel jaded or pissed or.
Well, everyone's gonna have their qualms with their success or their lack of success.
I've been really fortunate to get linked with Troy as well to see the other side and tour. Yeah. because I'm only 5 years in, which is still very
That's
green.
great.
And to do that and do the stages, like, I feel very lucky. And I think that helps me stay fresh and excited about it, because had I not seen that other side, it's a very dark place, like with mics. And yeah, like, it's very, like...
No, I did that for a bit. And I sort of... I, like, enjoyed... I was with a friend most nights, and...
That helps.
It did help, because it was, like, we were sort of, like, this is crazy, right? Like, these people are crazy, right?
Yeah, unhinged.
And then we would go up and do, like, our bad 3 minutes, but, we still felt like we were getting better. I don't know, I enjoyed it, and then we started doing our own shows, and I just never really made that transition into, like, oh, I really want to make a go of this. Totally. You know what I mean?
You have to want to, like,
you really do.
Slit your wrist for it.
Yeah, you truly... A lot of suicide talk tonight. Sorry. You got to jump off a goddamn building if you want to make it. Yeah.
You really do, though.
I know.
It's wild. Like, sometimes I'll see younger comics come through, and they're, like, all, bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, and I'm like, buckle up, sister. You're in for it. But then I see them stick around, and I'm like, kudos, because... Anyone that sticks in it for more than a year or two, I'm like, you've seen some ugly shit. Yeah. You've gone through it. And sometimes I'll get jealous of people that have the next thing. And then I'm like, no, whatever they have, they work their butt off for it.
You're never going to lose that.
Yeah.
Of, like, seeing something show up on Deadline and being like, God damn it.
Yeah.
Everyone's more successful than me.
No, it really does feel like that.
I know.
But everyone feels that way. I mean, anyone I talk to, like, even, I've got friends with HBO specials and...
Yeah.
And,
Is that the goal, too? Is, like, get a taped special out? I'm like,
That was like, when I was telling you earlier, my big dream, I was like, I'm missing one of them. I'm like, oh, it's a Netflix special. Right.
Have you, like, I kind of know how this world works, but not super well. Is, like, late night spots on the...
Yes.
On the...
Fallon is, like, I think late night sets are trash. Hot take. I might have to cut that out just so I don't seem like an idiot.
Wait, but say more. Like, do you think...
They're watered down.
Yeah, because they can't
stiff.
really... Yes. It has to be kind of ran
I've
through.
Again, I've seen a few that I think are good, but mostly you're like, who's this person that I know and love becoming a literal whitewash puppet? Where they're like, hey guys, I'm like, they're so nervous. Like, they could do...
It's tough.
It could be their 1 millionth set, and they're like, suddenly, like, back to square one. Like, my friend recently did Colbert, and he walks out, just peace signs out. I texted him, I was like, what the fuck was that? He was like, I was so nervous.
So good. That's so good.
He walks out like
just walks out.
I was like, what is that? He was like, I don't know. I was so nervous.
Well, that theater's gigantic. That must have been pretty intimidating.
And also, like, I'm so used to intimate settings with clubs where it's like, even if it's a big room, they seat people at the... And then so you can kind of, like, connect, and if you feel like you need to, like, parachute out of a fumble, you can talk to people, but, like, there's no fumbling, there's no parachutes, like...
Yeah, you're practically on a script, because it's like everything's been told to you, like what you can't say about the thing you've already done,
and I'm working on it, but I mean I could be a lot cleaner with
yeah, but it's
so
I was gonna say, like, talking about your friend being nervous or anyone you've seen that feels so, it's like that's what's weird to me, is that there's still this thing of, like, that's why I asked if that's something you want to do, because obviously it's, like, great to be on TV doing your comedy.
It's a resume builder.
But man, if it doesn't feel like that era is so over, of, like, back in the day, like, you would do, like, a late night set on, like, Conan or Letterman, and it would get you, like, a sitcom, dude. You know what I mean?
Now it's like,
I mean, the video's got, like, 30,000 views on YouTube the next day, and you're like, damn, this guy would have gotten more views if he just posted a 5-minute set on his own TikTok. It's like...
And that's a beautiful thing and a horrible thing.
I know. I don't know if views matter. I don't. But, like, if you're, like, a comedian trying to sell tickets to shows, it's like...
Totally.
I don't know if the late night appearance is...
It's a
beyond getting a credit, sure.
It's a credit,
like on the poster outside of the funny bone or whatever.
I did this hometown hero moment of, like, tell your mom.
Of course, and those are important too. Like, you need to give your family something to be like.
Oh, he's doing okay.
Yeah, he's doing all right. Wait, are you from New Jersey, or are you?
I'm from Maryland originally.
Maryland, okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Do your parents follow your career?
Yeah, my dad. I was just in Maryland with Troy at a club called Magoobies. My dad came.
Why are they all named?
I know,
shit
ridiculous.
Like that?
Bananas this past weekend. I was at Bananas and Magoobies. Like, I'm saying different words, speaking
it's like a nursery rhyme. It's like
I just had a stroke. But yeah, they're very supportive.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
Do you find that, like, your parents are, like, they want to, like, participate in the comedy, or like are your parents funny people?
My mom's hilarious. And my dad's funny. My mom will, like, tell me jokes sometimes, and I'm like, that's cute. But nothing to, like, try to... She's like, you should put this... She's not like that. She's like... They're really supportive. Like, I have some ridiculous jokes that I'm like, this is pushing.
Did they come to Magoobies?
My dad did. And my mom's coming. I have a headlining gig in November in D.C., so she'll come to that.
Where's that?
D.C. Comedy Loft.
Fun. Mm-hmm. Are you excited?
Yeah. When I booked that, it was like my first headlining set.
Great.
Now I have the one coming up in Boston, but...
When's that?
June 14th.
Where?
And 15th. It's like downtown Boston. It's called Nick's Comedy Stop.
When you do that, is it an hour?
Yeah. It'll be my first one. I'll do like 45.
Sure.
Yeah. But,
so will someone come with you and open?
Yeah, my friend Maggie's coming to feature for me.
Cool.
And that'll be her first time doing 20, and that'll be my first time doing 45. So
I bet it'll go quick, right?
I think so, because it's funny you bring that up, because before, there have been moments where I've been on stage, like I featured for Troy in Arizona, and I had like a terrible migraine, but the audience was trash, and I'm looking for the light. I'm begging
you're
for
like, someone kill me.
Light.
Yeah, get me out of here.
I'm looking, and like, I asked for a light at 18, I think. I usually do 20, and apparently I jumped at 17. I was like, I didn't see the light, but I knew I was at 20. And the guy working the booth was like, yeah, that was at 17. I was like...
Now, did they get mad at you?
No, they didn't give a shit. And
I was like, why would they ever care?
No one cared.
Unless you did like 2 minutes and walked away.
It was so brutal that I was like, there's no way it's not 20 minutes.
All your like best material too, right?
And I think it was a combination of not feeling well, and it was just a really tight crowd.
Yeah.
But I remember sitting, that was like a month ago. I just remember sitting in the green room watching Troy do an hour being like, how am I going to do this in a month? And then I did 20 recently, like on a really hot show, and I was like, oh, I got another round of this.
Yeah.
So it's so hot and cold comedy. I mean, it's going to be tough, I think, just because
first time.
45, but
what a thing. Like, what a learning experience that'll be, too.
Yeah, thank you.
Will you, like, talk to the crowd, or is that not part of your act?
Yeah, I will.
Okay.
I would think that'll...
Does that, like, have to be part of your act now?
No.
Okay.
But it's fun, and they love it. I mean,
that's the thing. It seems like everyone wants to be a part of it now.
They also, I think, just want to be seen and know that you're not some just talking robot on a track. And the second you kind of show, I see you, and I'm funny organically, as long as, like, you are.
Yeah, sure.
They love that. And I've also gotten used to Troy's crowds, and he has gotten pretty big from viral moments of crowd work.
Yeah.
So
I've
they
seen
look
some of his
for
clips
that
too.
with him. And when they see me, like, I try to stick to jokes, but I think whenever I do fold into crowd work, they, like, get really excited. You can feel, like, the pop, and you're like, oh, you're here kind of for that.
Yeah.
You want that.
Yeah.
So
that's fun.
It's interesting.
I would like to do that.
Yeah?
I would like to talk to strangers in a crowd.
Well, it's different from you film the video and then it goes out. Mm-hmm. And so that would be your way of really, finally kind of breaking through that wall.
Oh, no. It'd be weird.
If you want to do a show, I run a show at the Stand. You name the day.
That's not what this podcast is. This is not you pressuring me into doing stand-up again.
Guys, come to the Stand.
What is the Stand show? It's once a week?
Monthly.
Monthly. Cool.
It's called School Night. It's on a Wednesday. Which is, I think, good in the summers because people like leave on the weekends.
Oh, yeah. I don't know what the vibe is here in the summer.
Well, this summer is going to be fucked.
Yeah, as we said,
everyone's going to be gone.
Everyone's going to be roasting.
No one's going to be here.
Yeah.
But I guess I like to keep this to under an hour. I feel like many... Oh, let's see what the people asked.
Oh, did anyone ask anything?
Someone, yeah. We got a few.
It cracked me up because before I looked at it, I was like, what if, like, you were just tagging me to be like, remember, you have to come to the podcast. And before I saw it, I was like, I wonder what this is.
No, you have to be here.
I know, it was cracking me up.
No. I've been wanting to do this more. Okay. Oh, this one's funny.
Yeah, what do you got?
Okay. Deal breakers in friends and or romantic partners. Red flags, as the kids call them.
Red flags in friends.
Yeah, red flag. What's a red flag in friends?
That's an interesting one. Do you have any? I'm trying to think like what... Like, I'm at the age, and you're like my age too, I feel like we kind of are done with our, like, we only have our friends. Like, we only have, like, we're not making a lot.
We're done.
I don't have a lot of red flags for friends because I'm like, I'll take anyone. Like, it's like everyone's getting married and having kids and moving off. I'm like, I don't know. It'd have to be something really disastrous. I'd still probably look past it and be like, we can hang.
Yeah, well, there's different categories of friends. There's like the getting a drink friends.
Yes.
There's the creative
substance
friends.
Abuse friends. The stand-up friends.
Sober and non-sober.
Yes, exactly.
I will say I went sober for a year and 2 months, and I learned that some people suck. You're like,
oh yeah.
Oh, I can't be around you unless I'm drinking. Got it.
Not the same thing.
I had to cut friends out.
But I went sober for a week and a half recently.
Congrats.
And I did have a similar kind of epiphany.
Yes.
I was like at a bar with a bunch of people, and my friends were great, but I was just sort of like seeing it for the first time, not even having like a slight buzz, and just sort of being like, it's been a while since I've been in an environment like this at like midnight, stone sober, and I was like, huh.
What I found was like, I'm like, why are you telling me about your fish tank in 5th grade?
Oh yeah,
like people just want to tell you you're like, what are you telling me right now?
Where like when you're hammered, you're like,
tell me about the color of the gravel.
Yeah.
I had that too.
You're like bringing people in. Hold on, he's talking about his fish. Oh. Yeah, alcohol, baby. Wait, can we talk about the sober period?
Of course, yeah.
What was like any life lessons or any? Like,
oh my God, that's so many.
Yeah, I'm sure. I've been like, I think that's an interesting thing. I've been like,
sobriety.
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
I'm the first to say it. I think alcohol might be a poison.
Yeah, they say it's not good for you. Yeah. It was fascinating. I didn't date. So that was one thing that I learned that like I think in prior years I would lean on it in romantic settings, or I would stay in relationships longer because let's say he's pissing me off, I would just be like, I'm gonna order some wine and call it a night. Sure. He's not gonna bother me if I'm have had 4 glasses of wine.
Yeah.
So it made me really face my feelings and what I really looked for and cared about. I definitely had some friends where I was like, oh, I'll see you, like, maybe we'll go on a walk, because I need to do something, like, physical, because sitting with them was, like, I'd rather hit my head against the wall kind of a thing. And I have amazing friends, and most of them are incredible, but there was, a handful that I'm like, oh, you want to just talk about you right now, and I'm happy to do that.
I mean, that's kind of a good red flag.
Yeah.
Because, like, I have noticed that as I've gotten older, is, like,
so
you meet certain people where it's very, like, you're like, a half hour into the hang, and you're like, have they asked me anything about how I've been, or, like, what's going on? You're sort of like, I don't... Like, it's not bad, but you're sort of like, this is a weird way to be a person.
Exactly. And those are the kind of people that once they do circle back and ask you a question, it feels like they're checking a box. And
because the second you start answering, it's like they're already off to something else, and you're like, oh.
Or you're just like, I don't really even care to tell you this, because it feels
like... Oh, that's a terrible feeling. I know exactly what you're talking about, because then you're like, well, what's the point? Yes. I wanted to tell you this, but are you actually listening?
But now I just feel like it's a to-do.
And then that somehow turns it around on you and makes you feel like a bad person, because you're like, why am I not want to share something?
Yes.
Yeah.
Totally.
Being alive
we found
is
our red
so
flag.
complicated. Yeah. What else? Do you have any other weird ones or no? Sorry, questions.
Oh, questions? Oh, yeah.
Did they give you anything weird?
One person asked a really thoughtful question about music.
Oh, wow.
Okay. How does your brain distinguish between material for music versus material for music? Or sorry, for
I got you.
Material versus jokes versus material for music.
That's really interesting. I think going with what I said earlier about, like, how I haven't been thinking as much about music in general, I think, like, especially, like, with the stuff I do now online, it's so much easier if you have, like, an idea about something going on in the world or the news to just, like, I don't think about, like, songs like that anymore.
Yeah, I feel like you keep it very topical with your content.
I try to.
Because then it hits really well. And
yeah, I mean, I guess I shouldn't say, like, it's not, like, a conscious effort, really. It's just more of, like, what's everyone talking about that's, like, funny or weird. But with music, it almost has to come from a place of, like, I'm on a run, or, like, I'm in the shower, and I'm just, like, saying a stupid phrase.
Are you a big runner?
Yeah.
Okay, you mentioned it on the other podcast where you're like, if they just keep doing things, it's like running or weightlifting. Yeah. I just signed up for the New York City Marathon. So.
What?
Yeah.
Are you kidding?
Yeah, have you ever run it?
Are you a big runner? No, I've never done it.
I used to be.
Okay.
And then I just kind of, with touring and all this stuff, but
damn, are you doing like the fundraising to get in? Or?
I did that.
Okay,
I signed up through like Team for Kids, and I basically signed my life away to like raise $3,000.
Yeah.
Which Team for Kids, I don't know where it goes. It feels like a little like shady.
Really?
I googled it.
You're gonna end up like running for like a warlord on accident.
I'm not kidding. Well, it's like the company of the New York City Marathon, but I'm like, where is this? It's the TCS Marathon, but I'm like, where is this going?
No, I have no idea. I've never tried to do...
It's for kids, but I'm like, I don't see any examples.
No, I've never seen anything about the money that gets raised.
Right?
Well, now that I think about it.
Team for Kids, like it's a...
Team for Kids is also a very easy name to just make up. Put an LLC at the end.
I did a deep dive on it, and like nothing came up, and I'm
that
like,
is hilarious. Right. No, that'll be... Okay. I've always wanted to. I've tried to
What stopped you?
I tried to do the lottery like 4 or 5 years in a row. Never got it. And then I just stopped. it's also like it's very difficult. Have you that's one of the things.
How far do you normally run?
I mean, like, it depends on the season. Right now I'm like my longest run is like 7 or 8 miles.
That's
so
good.
I'm not like gonna do a marathon anytime soon. But like, yeah, I could probably get out like 4 or 5 days a week.
Okay. That's a lot.
But have you run a marathon before?
No, I've run like 7 or 8 halves.
Oh, then you'll be good.
And I signed up for a full once, and I got IT band syndrome really bad.
Oh God, that's.
So I didn't train properly. Like I would just like come back from a long work trip and just hit a 10-mile run.
Oh God, and that's
I was
how you
young
get.
And
yeah,
stupid.
I know. That's like where I am now. Is like.
Now I foam roll.
I know. It
You
sucks.
gotta foam
like
roll.
I have to like literally have a routine at night, or like if I want to even just maintain like some level of what I used to be able to do, I'm like I have to really take this seriously.
Theragun, do you have one of those?
I don't have one of those, but I'm intimidated by it. It's pretty
too,
hardcore.
But I'm like I like buying shit. Like I'm a serial buyer of things I don't need, and I'm like, well, since I did the marathon, signed up for the marathon, now I gotta buy the goo gun, like the gels and the belts.
Well, that'll be good luck. I mean, that'll be really fun. I do think it's like one of the most beautiful days in New York. I go spectate every year. Yeah. It's very powerful. I mean, it's like, I don't know how many, like 30, 40,000 people. Like, it's really cool.
I'm excited.
My sister did it once, and it was really fun. Yeah. She trained properly. It was really fun to see her. But I feel like every year, there's at least like 4 or 5 people I know, and it's like, it's so fun.
Would you ever do videos while running? I think that. I'm surprised you haven't done that.
Separation of like church and state. You know, it's like, there's the work, and then it's like, I've thought about doing that.
I was going to say, because I'm sure you've thought of something funny on a run, and you're like, this could be my thing.
That happens all the time.
Right.
Like, I don't run
Do you stop and type it?
I don't run with my phone. That's my.
Do you have the Apple Watch, or you just totally?
No, I
that's
do
like
it.
So.
I know, it's crazy. I tell people that and they think I'm like a psychopath. I go out totally in the nude. No, it's like, but like I do.
In a Speedo.
I feel like I'm like. Yeah, like a crazy person because
That's fascinating.
I used to think it was pretty normal, but in the past few years, as more gear and stuff has come out, people were like, "How?" Like, but I'm telling you, and it's not like I find gold every time I'm running around Central Park, but like.
You're on Central Park. Oh, because you're up there.
Central Park a lot. I am up there.
I always thought you were in Brooklyn. I don't know.
No, I'm
like a Brooklyn vibe.
Well, that's nice. Yeah, I know I live with a lot of old people and families, but no, Central Park, Riverside Park. It's a good area if you like running.
I feel like when I'm up there, my life is together. Like if I'm in Central Park doing something physical.
Yeah.
I got life on lock.
Yeah, yesterday, long run in Central Park, and you're just seeing. There's a lot to look at. You take it all in, and it's very nice.
People. Wait, we never finished a day in the life.
Wait. Oh, from the very beginning? Yeah, so then I try to write, it doesn't work. I go to bed. That's the day of the life. I send some emails. Yeah. I respond to some DMs telling me to kill myself, and then I go to bed.
Do you get mean DMs?
All the time.
Really?
Yes. I'm beyond.
Shut up.
You can't save me now.
What?
I'm at the point where like anything I do, if it's even remotely political.
Stop.
This is surprising you? Do you not get people telling you to get?
Not mean DMs.
Oh, I gotta
mean
change
comment. A lot of men say
I'm sure.
crusty, a lot of crusty older men.
Oh, I thought they were calling you crusty. I was like, that's not fair.
No, just a lot of men in like their 50s. They're like, wow, female comedian. I'm like, you have eyes.
From a place of you think they're trying to like hit on you, or
no, they're just like
they're just trying to put you in your place.
Yeah,
it's so cringy. It's like
it's crazy.
It's like anytime I see a clip of a woman doing comedy, whether it's on like Don't Tell comedy, Don't Tell, or like Comedy Central, anyone that's doing like stand up clips, you don't before you even open the comments.
Yeah,
you're like. They're not even going to begin to say anything. Like, there'll be a few that are like applause emojis, but what does that mean? And then it's like, but then the majority are like, could be funny maybe if she stopped doing, it's like these critics who have never done anything.
And the best is when it's like a man and his daughter in like the bio and like the little photo. I'm like, bro.
Torey. Oh my God. The amount of people that say the most heinous shit to me and their profile photo is like them with like their 2 little kids and their dog and their dumb wife. And I'm like, I will DM, I'll find your wife and DM her and show her what you said to me. I was like, you guys are so mean to me.
Well, it's interesting. I will screenshot and put it on my story sometimes.
But you can't, right? I admire it. I respect it. But at that point, are you giving them what they want? That's what I debate.
I don't do that with DMs.
Yeah,
I do that with comments. So I'm like, this is clearly public already. With DMs, I think I would I haven't done it with DMs, but I think maybe I would blur out their, unless I'm just like, you know what?
Yeah.
You deserve this.
You're
very sweet with your platform to not do that to them.
But like, because it makes me like sometimes I'll reply to a comment with something really snarky.
I always say thank you.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah.
Thank you.
Sometimes I'll be in a mood and I will say something really, really mean back, and then it gets a bunch of likes, and I'm like, and then I delete it because I'm like, this is like too crazy. I'm like coming for this guy who's ultimately just like kind of probably mentally ill and is like too obsessed with a cult leader. You know, it's like it's not like these people are. It's like like dunking on a fifth grader. It's like it's sort of like, am I really cool for doing this? It's like no, it's kind of embarrassing that I gave them the time of day. So I try to limit it, but sometimes I can't help myself because it is like sort of you know, you're like, damn, this guy's really coming for me. Like
that reminds me of your I think one of the first videos that you posted that really made me hit follow and was like, wow, this guy really gets it, was one of your bachelor party videos.
Oh,
you just everything you said was just so niche and spot on. And when you you get really like to your point when you were just saying like some British kid, I'm like, yeah, how did you know like those are the YouTube videos?
Well, just
you're very good at the little nuanced details that are so accurate. And it was the bachelor party one, and then a brunch one that was like so accurate.
Sure. Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Well, I have a thing. That's like my only ever writing tip I ever like share is like, because I'm not like an expert by any means, but like the one thing I do is I have like a little note card in front of my laptop that says specifics and inventions. So it's like,
love that.
If there's something where I'm like stuck and I'm like, there's something fun, you have a funny idea here. You're like observing something in the world that everyone knows. But it's not funny. It's like sometimes all it takes is like a very specific type of kid on YouTube or a specific type of brand of a thing. You know what I mean? Like instead of saying like being on trying to board your flight, say like boarding your Southwest flight. It's like I always try to add specifics, and then if it's not a specific, I try to like invent something where like I'll come up with a term no one's used before.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Because I feel like that pops too for people. Like
that, I feel like my brain. I'm like, oh my.
Specifics and inventions. That's my secret tool. But I'm sure you do it in your joke writing. It's like when you think about the jokes that really work, it's because it's like a specific thing that like.
I guess.
Maybe not. I'm not saying it's a golden rule, but it's kind of my like I'm stuck and I know this is a funny idea. But it's not, the jokes aren't really jokes yet.
Totally.
And sometimes it's just a matter of like renaming something with like an invention you come up with for what that phenomenon could be called.
Totally.
And then
no, that's fascinating. I think I'm maybe even a little afraid of that since I have been all over the country telling jokes that I get a little spooked by specifics. So I'm like, oh, I want this to apply.
Oh, and you're like, this might not
exactly.
hit.
Where like, let's say I want to write a joke about how I'm in credit card debt. I'm a basic white girl and I still buy Aesop soap. Like that would hit with like the girlies in New York.
Totally, because, I know what you're saying.
You know, like, but like, who's gonna know what Aesop is?
I have this weird trust in myself. I'm a pretty normal person.
Yeah.
And that's what I remind myself. And you seem like a pretty normal person. So my thought is like, if I've experienced this, more than 50% of people have. It's kind of how I look at it.
I love that.
Unless it's like so odd. Like, you know, I like shit my pants in an alley in Lower East. I'm like, probably not. Yeah. Probably not 50% of people haven't done that. But like, I haven't either, by the way. But like... So it's like...
I don't know, I haven't.
But if it's like a normal thing where you're talking about like your soap, I'm like, I bet that would work online. You know what I mean? Like, I bet people would be like, of course I know that's soap.
Yeah.
You just got to trust that enough people... Like, if you're doing it, you're not the only one buying that damn soap. You know what I mean?
The fact that... Like, whenever I think of, like, oh, I shouldn't do that because it exists, I think of Aesop being like, you know what? Like, we're going to create a soap. Yeah. But we're going to find a price point that makes it so absurd that everyone's going to need it.
Yes.
And we're going to have this beautifully aesthetically pleasing... brick and mortar everywhere.
Yeah.
And you're like, how?
Soap is good fodder for something.
Right?
I always think about Miss Myers too. I always think that's a really funny brand.
Yeah.
Soap is funny.
Soap is hilarious.
Is there anything you've been trying to, I don't know if this is anything you ever do on the show, but is there any other bits you're thinking about? I have like a couple things I'm trying to figure out and I can't figure them out.
I bet your notes tab. Here, let me.
Oh, it's horrific. Yeah, it's like so many half-assed weird things.
No, sometimes I actually want to just sit and like read my notes one day because like
the soap thing's pretty funny.
Thank you.
There's definitely something you can do about like yeah.
I mean, like, I just have like half-baked jokes, like tags that I want to add. Like,
wait, let me see that again. I get it. I was a baby once. I didn't see this.
Because I do a lot of jokes about hating babies.
Oh, that's funny.
Like I've got friends like, oh, you want to hold the baby? I'm like, no, I don't want to hold your potato with a heartbeat. Like, it's got a slinky for a neck.
That's funny, yeah.
Like, the risk reward is, like, me dropping this, and then, like, the reward is me holding a baby. Like,
yeah.
It's not a good, like, cost-benefit analysis.
Yeah.
Thank you. But then I'm, like, I hate when I seem like a hater of things. And I want to get in them, like, let's say the audience is like, wow, this girl really hates babies. So I was just thinking one day, I was like, oh, I could say, oh, I get it. Like, I was a baby once. I still hate myself.
You know, it's funny. I can say it. Because I was a baby. Yeah, like, I'm allowed to.
But let's see. I've got so many, like, oh, man. I have a lot of the ick stuff. I mean.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, so it's just a lot of half-baked
tags. I always debate if I should say, like, things like that. You know, that's another thing I'm always thinking about.
I have a lot of TikTok's ideas.
Like for like sketches.
Oh, here's the Aesop one. It's just half-baked out. It goes, I'm the CEO of Aesop, and I say, I'm going to make a soap. Mm-hmm. And then someone's like, yeah, we have that. And I was like, no, but mine will be $40.
Yeah, that's a good, like, quick cut sketch. That's a funny video like that. I could see that being really funny.
Then it's just a stupid one. Imagine all the people, the song, and then me at like getting like an STD test and like running the numbers on if I have it.
Oh, that's funny. That's a funny live bit.
Yeah, and like these are all just like dumps, but yeah. Oh man.
Yeah, imagine all the people that I have to call, like that kind of thing.
Yeah. Imagine or just like that all the people that have it, and you're like, well, oh yeah. I stopped drinking and I felt better than everyone around me, and that got old. I don't know. Just random shit.
Yeah.
Oh, this was funny. I was at a comedy show.
Blanket statement right there.
And the guy goes, I go, how old are you? I go, are you a Gen Z? He goes, I don't identify as Gen Z.
Oh, that's
great.
I
go, you just said yes twice.
Yeah, that's very funny.
Thank you.
That's a great joke.
Thank you.
You should just tell that again. Like, you just really explain that.
That literally, I'm like, I thought that, just relaying the experience in my own head, and then I was like, oh, that's perfect.
Yeah, the funny thing is, he didn't even realize he just said yes twice.
See, and you put it into like such a good, I need to just start talking to my phone.
I'm trying to see if I have anything good for you. My TikTok is kind of normal. My Instagram,
weird.
I don't know what's going on there.
Can I see it?
No.
Can I see your explore page?
I'm so embarrassed. Let me see what it is. No, let me see what's going on real quick.
What's so funny, I have a really good friend.
Absolutely not.
Really? Is it that crazy?
It's just weird.
Mine is so me.
It's like
I have like hot girls and food.
Yeah, I don't have food. Mine changed. I have like track videos. I have like slot machine videos.
Why?
Like girls in bikinis.
Uh-huh.
And then like the occasional like dog being held by a monkey.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, this is a mess. It's like it thinks I'm simultaneously horny, sad, but also like might want to gamble. Like it's very, and usually all three. Yeah. But like it's very like I look at it, I'm like, I would never show this to anyone.
That's hilarious. Well, I think this is such a funny question because it's an interesting way to get to know someone.
Yeah.
And then I've got a close friend who's like your basic white girl, loves fashion, like literally just could not be more of a regular person. Mm-hmm. I said to her, I go, what is your algorithm? She goes, oh, it's shark attacks.
Shark attacks.
Doesn't skip a beat, it just goes shark attacks. I go, what the fuck did you just say?
That's the problem.
And then she pulls up her TikTok, and the next thing I see is just a shark eating his tail. I was like, what?
Well, if you click one thing, because you're like, oh, I gotta see this. Then it's like you're punished forever. It's like, we saw what you did, you filthy motherfucker. Like, now it's like, don't.
Like popping pimples.
Yes, yeah. You watch one thing.
Or the ears getting cleaned. Have you seen that?
I've seen that's popped up recently, and I'm like, we're not advocating for this.
Oh, see, I'm like, are they gonna get it?
Well, but once you get past like 30 seconds, you're gonna get a lot more.
And then I'm like, do I need one of those?
I literally have like a fear on TikTok because my algorithm is so like,
it's so entertaining
that I'm like, I don't want to like anything. Totally. I don't want to follow. I was like, the vibe is right in here.
Do you scroll a lot?
Oh yeah.
That's the thing. I'm like, let me just be a creator, not a scroller, to be healthy with my balance. And then I'm like, and then I'm like, this is intel. Like,
yeah, well, that's what we say to ourselves.
This is research.
Comedy research. What's everyone else joking about? Yeah, but it's like, it's easy. I don't know. I shouldn't say it like that. I'm not bad. Like, I know people that are on their phones way more than me.
Do you have like a limit on your phone?
No.
Okay. I set a limit to an hour every day, and every day I hit ignore.
Oh, okay. I was like, superhuman. And then you
No, on my TikTok and Instagram, I have it set for an hour. And then every day, like towards the end of the day, it's like you've hit your limit. And I'm like, ignore.
For me, it's so hard because I don't, like, I kind of envy that you have a day job in the sense that it keeps you on task. Like, so much of what I do is these very loose deadlines right now where it's like, yeah, send me another pass with this when you have a chance. Yeah, I will. And you're like, and I'm good at staying disciplined.
Yeah.
But man, when you just kind of do your own thing and you could wake up at noon, it doesn't matter. It's easy to just sort of like...
What time do you wake up?
I'm pretty good. I'm usually up before like 8:30.
Okay.
But like some days, like I'll be up early, have a cup of coffee, read a book. I'm like, oh, I'm having a very productive day. And then it's like 10 in the morning and I find myself going to the thing. And I'm like, what are you doing at 10 in the morning?
Yeah.
Most people are getting to work and like doing work. And you're like...
they're on TikTok at work.
They are. You're right.
So,
that makes me feel better.
Yeah, don't worry. I
but they're putting clothes on. Like I'm just like sitting there in the
That's
same clothes
true.
I slept in. Like, maybe I'll check. I'm like, you can't do this. You got to shower and go out in the world.
I
like,
do start my day on Instagram though.
Do you?
Every morning. Which I once heard a Jay Shetty quote where that's saying it's like letting 100 people in your bedroom.
That's pretty good.
Which is so aggressive.
Yeah, but I mean, it is. Yeah, it's very.
It's a lot of emotions at once. Where I'm like, oh, she got that, or like I should be farther along, and then I'm like, then I'll close my phone, and then I don't look at it, and then I walk to work, and then I look at it towards the end of my walk, and then I get to my desk, and then I look at it when I'm at my, it's like it's just kind of like
Yeah. Well, don't you feel like here's the problem with life?
With life, let's hear it.
The only like good news you're ever gonna get is gonna show up here.
You think?
On your phone. It's good. Well, that's where you're going to see the email first or the phone call from the team or whatever it's going to be. It's going to come from here.
Your phone.
It's not going to come by letter. Like, it's not gonna,
no carrier pigeon.
Yeah, it's not, someone's going to knock on your door and tell you got a job you've been waiting. Like, so it's like...
It's like a lottery slot.
You kind of want to keep it near you.
You're waiting for the good.
Yeah, even if you're not like on, waiting on something, you still sort of are like, well, the work or the whatever is going to come from that.
Yeah.
But then if you're just sitting with it, you're going to eventually get drawn back into the scroll. So it's like, what do you do?
And I'm sure you feel this way, where it feels like every video is like playing the slots, and you're like, oh, am I gonna like? You're just put the coin in, and you're like waiting for like the bing, 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 and like, did I get it? Like, what's gonna come from this, or
Yeah. Yeah, I've been like, I haven't posted much in a while. That Trump thing I did recently was like the first thing I've done in a long time.
Well, you just made it a story, right?
Yeah.
And then you saw it again, you're like, okay, guys, I'll make it
again. That's a sign of a guy who's like lost his confidence. Let me put it on the story first and see what the vibe is.
It was so good, though.
That's nice of you to say.
Yeah.
Quick little
and it was so hands-off on either side. It was an observational comparison.
Yeah.
And it was great.
I try to be fair.
I get what you're saying. For me, I have a hard time like I've had moments where I'm like, are you really gonna post about like who knows, some silly topic that I have?
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, people need to escape.
Oh, because the frivolous thing where it feels silly in a time like this.
Yeah. But then I'm like, no, I want my page to be a place where people can still escape and have a good laugh.
That's a really good way to look at it, and that is the literally correct way to look at it. It's just like it's so easy to get in your head when you're like, oh God, are people going to be mad at me? Yeah, people are going to be mad at me, even if it's like literally like go outside and talk to anyone on the street and they'll be like, hey, how are you? Like life, like outside of your phone, it's like everyone's having a normal day. It just seems so intense and easy to fuck up and be, tone deaf.
Yeah.
And it's like, God, that's the last thing I want to do. But like, yeah, it's weird.
Yeah, I get it. But I think unless you've positioned yourself to be that kind of person,
such a good observation.
Right,
that's
it's
how
not
I
your
feel
role.
about it. It's like at what point, I know there's always like the Jon Stewarts and John Olivers of the world where people kind of look to these comedians for like political insight. And I dabble, but I do think people have started to think that about me a little more. And I'm like, at the end of the day, I'd rather just make jokes about, like frozen yogurt and soap. Yeah, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think you do have such
it's not, I don't have the education, I don't have the expertise to really go in on these topics. So,
but even you saying that in a funny way could be really interesting.
Well, that's one of the bits I've been trying to figure out.
Yeah.
It's like, it's hard to nail, but there's something really funny about like,
people looking to you.
Yeah, and that's the joke I've been making. I'm like, I literally did nothing today. I'm like, I'm not your God, I promise. Like,
that could be a really good way of easing your feelings about that and then still moving forward. Because I do think you have such smart takes that since it applies to soap, like how can he be that quick and genius about soap? Obviously, he must know XYZ. And
that's what you would think that connection would be made, but yeah, it's
I could see them thinking that, but you're like, no, this isn't me, which could also be your edge in like a really fun way.
Yeah, maybe. I feel like the best thing I can ever do is just like if it feels strange, just chill for a bit, and then it'll feel right when it feels right.
Yeah, and also it's like at the end of the day, it's Instagram and TikTok.
I know.
Yeah.
It's so easy to get like too caught up in it when you're like scrolling and reading things.
Again, it's this double-edged sort of wanting to just put it out there, get the opportunities from it, grow as a person and as a whatever the dream is that you want. It's going to give you those new avenues and those doorways, but then you're also like, well, I don't want to do the wrong thing.
Yeah.
And it's like,
but people like you and people like me are I think I'd say 95% of people know that our intentions are like coming from a place of like we're just trying to be funny and do the right thing. It's like I don't think we're the kind of people that are out there in the comedy scene. They're purposely trying to ruffle feathers.
Right. You know? Totally. It's funny. I'll never forget. There was a meme that came out, and it was like right when he got elected, and it was 80 degrees on Christmas, and the meme was like, Trump is our president. It's 80 degrees on Christmas. Ask the person out. Like,
sure. That's
like
good.
That, and I was like, that is so true. Like, and my favorite saying actually is nothing matters. Nobody knows what they're doing, and we're all gonna die. Like, I have the tattooed on my arm, the nobody knows part, because I just really believe that.
I think that's great. That's like the great. That's like how I kind of operate. I think also with the writing. I think it's like literally how I try to think comedically. Is like, don't take it so seriously. We're all gonna die. Yeah. So, like, the least you can do is be like, well, this is kind of silly, right? Like, that thing that happened, objectively pretty funny. That he was found, it's sort of just like, it doesn't mean I'm taking a hard stance on anything. I'm just saying, like, guys, we're all going to die. Like, look at this. This is stupid. This is a funny thing that's happening, and we all have to. What a beautiful ending to this wonderful.
It's all stupid.
With Matt and Tori.
We should start our own podcast.
That makes sense. I'm optimistic.
In the best way, though.
I am, yeah.
And also, like, if you can call it stupid, then, like, there goes the, like, pressure.
Take away some of the violence. Yeah.
I also really liked, again, we could wrap this up.
I don't want to waste your time, but I'm happy to talk as long as you want.
No, you're good.
I don't want to ruin your Adobe session later. And have to
God. I'll be in tears over Adobe later.
Chop up some things.
No, don't worry, I'll cut it everywhere we say.
I was trying to help you by saying, you're going to have to cut this.
Cut this out. You had a really cool saying for when you get anxious. You said it on the pod where you're like...
I love that you listened to this pod and like, it
became
so
my truth. No, you mentioned I can get through this. Or
I wonder what it was. Oh, you step up always.
Yes. Yeah, you step up always. It was so good because it's funny. As I was listening to you say that, as I walked in, I listened on my walk home I parked my car at the garage at work. I was walking home. I was like, okay, let me like get my Matt AI up and like learn all the things. And then I'm like standing over my computer. I'm like testing an SD drive and it's not working. And I'm like, oh fuck, like I don't know where my other SD cards are. Like, and I started to get like a little stressed. And then you literally said that, and I was like, oh, I've always gotten this set up.
Right?
It's fine.
It's like maybe it's a generalization, but it's like. So far, you have always stepped up. Like, maybe you haven't nailed it, but you've always, like, done the thing you had to do when you were asked to do it. And it's, like,
I think that's
good
brilliant.
To remember that.
And also, just anytime I get on stage, like, I think I'm going to keep that with me.
Must be huge for stage stuff.
Totally. But I've never been able to put into so few words, like I get nervous, and it's, like, you step up always. Like, it's, like, you've never...
I think people are, like, forgiving, and people are largely kind to anything you might be going through. So if you're like nervous someone's gonna like judge you too much or be like too critical, it's like at the end of the day you will show up and do the thing you're gonna do, and if it doesn't work, it doesn't work, but you will be there, and you're not gonna collapse in the middle of your show. You're not it just those are like when you're really anxious, those are like the where you start going and you're like, what if I'm on this Zoom and I just like start cursing or something, like what if I lose my mind? It's like you're gonna step up, you're gonna like do the thing you've been doing forever. And but it is nice to read it sometimes and be like, yeah, okay.
You step up. Yeah, it's great. Do you have any tattoos?
Yeah. Me?
Yeah.
No. Should I?
Well, I'm like the classic white girl. I'm like, if I really like something, I like put it on my body.
But I like how subtle they are too.
Thank you. Yeah.
I've never even come close. I think I'm too like, I know how I am. And I think, like, I would wake up after a week with it and be like, I can't believe this is on me.
That's how I felt when I got my first one. I think this is so ugly.
Oh, I don't hate that, but I guess it's not my body.
I thought it was a brain on a stick when I first got it. It's a one-line rose for anyone listening. But, and then I was just like, screw it. And then it just kind of became this, like...
Wasn't that what happens? You always hear about, like, you get one and then you're like, well, I'll do another.
Well, after this, I was like... Well, there goes my body. Who cares?
There goes my body. It's the tiniest little... Well, I'm fucked. There's no coming back from...
cover it all.
There's no coming back from this tiny 2-inch rose. I've thought about it. And then I had a really sad thought when I was the closest I was to getting a tattoo. I was like, let's just get one. It'd be fun. Like something on your arm. Something you could hide with a sleeve or something. And then I literally had this thought. I was like, there's nothing I care about that much in the world to actually have forever. Like, I was like, what would I put that I'm like, that is something I like, whether it's like a phrase or a family member's name. Love my family, but like, you know, I'm like, what would I put? And I was like, I don't know. And I couldn't.
It's kind of your theme, though. It's like you love everything.
Kind of, yeah. I guess.
There's no one thing that you're like, that.
Yeah, I'm not really an obsessive person, is what I've realized. Yeah, I'm sort of, I'm curious and I like things, but I don't have something where I'm like, oh my God, I'm the biggest blah, blah, blah fan in the world or something. But
well, to put a bow on this, if there was one takeaway you wanted people to hear after listening to this, what would it be?
All the pressure. After every weird thing we've talked about.
I know, we went on a lot of different paths.
I know. I don't know. I think,
where you want people to like, go. Or like one of like your mantras, whether it's one of those.
I think the one thing I would want people to take away is, I think even when things can feel very bad, especially on the internet, I don't think things are as bad as they seem. And I think there are lots of good people working to make the world better. And you have to remember that. That
was beautiful.
That's all I got.
Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you for having me.
It was really fun. Yeah. Truly, this is one of the longest I've recorded.